It's out. Well, hello everybody. Hi, Jen, Flex Nuts, and Ritachi.
Hello, hello.
Hello, welcome. I'm just trying to prep everybody here. See, okay, good. Okay, I'm just gonna look for my notes. How's everybody? Good night. Good night. How's everybody's tonight? Everybody's good.
Long day.
Long day. It's only Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, but it's not payday for me, so I'm not that happy.
Hey, what's up, Nikki? I'm on the road right now, but I'm gonna have my mic muted, listening. If you need me,
Okay,
I'll
have a
chime.
safe drive. Thank you for joining. Alrighty then. So today's topic, we're going to talk about what makes a strong alliance. And as the game progresses, as time passes by, there's more and more nations out there. Right now, the most recent nation now is what? 1,150? Is that the new nation now? Or we're already over that?
Whatever it is, they just got merged, I'm sure.
They get much faster merger than we do, right? 1,052 still are going into 2 years without a merger. We're so dead. Dead alliance here. Um, but a lot of people wonder what makes a strong alliance. And to have a strong alliance, it makes the nation, for one, be stronger, but also be more progressive in events, meaning that if you get a frenzy, if you get a void, you're well known, or your main alliance, which is your top alliance, can fight back to whoever they're gonna go against, and hopefully maybe they'll win. Um, or there's other events like individual events that like are elite wars, and dual dominance, triangle, all that good stuff. So 1 second.
Well,
Okay, so the first point in having a good strong alliance is leadership. To have a strong alliance, it is very important for that alliance to have a strong leadership. If the alliance lacks leadership, that alliance cannot, it won't, it's not going to work out. Because if there's no leadership, there's no rules, there's no disciplines, then anybody can just do whatever they want. Meaning, oh, it's frenzy. Let me drop my bubble at the last 5 minutes when you have fought all day to win the gap, and then this person drops their bubble just to get their individual points, and bam, you lost your gap, and the score is you lost your lead, and now you lost the frenzy because this one individual wanted to do that. If that makes sense, because there's people who do that, right? So, um, so for leadership you need to have a good R5. Like the R5 has to be a person that people look up to. Like in ED1 we have Mr. J, and whatever Mr. J say, we all listen to it, because if we don't, the next morning we're gonna wake up and we're burned. I mean, he's not like that, but it's like a type of person that you look up to and you will listen to because they have that good
that's because Jay
leadership in
has
them.
goons. Jay don't do it. He has goons that do it.
Yeah, Ritachi will be the first one in there, right?
I guess, or I'll be the first one burned. I don't know.
No, no, Ritachi's the first one that's yelling at us when we mess up.
Oh yeah, Ritachi is the one.
I,
Yeah.
it's just listen. You got it, like it goes right to what Nikki said, right? You got to have the leadership, and I think we have a great leadership, but you got to do as you're told. Otherwise it
Well,
doesn't
I
work.
think that was exactly it about ED1. Is just to use ED1 as an example. The reason why the leadership is so effective is because the rest of the alliance rallies around that, and they police each other to make sure that everyone performs at their best. And I think that's why they do so well.
Another thing is
Yeah.
it's because the R4s like us are always helping our R5. So we don't let our R5 do it all. Because if you let your R5 do it all, they will what's it called? They will get burned out,
Yeah.
and that's a much faster way for them to just quit the game. And if your alliance depends on this R5 so much, the moment this person quits, your alliance is doomed unless you find somebody who can do that. What this other person did.
So what we do is we do alternating shifts because it does burn you out. The stress does get real. The mail never ends. So every quarter, I would wager to say that I would rotate me personally like Piper or Fire Raid, and we would just transition in and out throughout the year. Not overdoing it, but enough to give ourselves a bit of a vacation, so to speak.
Yeah, so rotating that R5 position is a good way to do that. So like we have I think we have like three people who rotate will be Mr. J, unknown, and then the other person is just an extra in case Jay. Oh, hey Jay, welcome. I'm not talking about you. um so we have like these two people that will rotate each other the position of R5, but either way, in our communication lines, they're always there to discuss what's the next step for the alliance or what are we going to do on the event. They're still R5. Even I, who's been in R4, the minute I become an R1, I'm still an R4. I will still be doing R4 duties even though I'm R1. Even, it's like it's stuck to you. You can never run away from being an R5 if you were already R5. So stay away from being R5. Don't even touch that. It's hard being an
Yeah, we,
R5.
we just to caveat on that, we just implement like a office. We call it officers chat, even though I mean, 'cause there's not enough slots. There's 10 for R4, one for R5. We still have leaders outside that bubble who do rotate in periodically, throughout. And we just keep that open chat, and we name it like, for example, this is November officers, and then on the first it'd be like December officers, and so on and so forth. And we just keep that chat group going with the known officers, even though rank doesn't necessarily mean everything.
So you guys are like a month. You have like a monthly
Yeah,
schedule
yeah.
of who's R5 and all that.
Well, no, no, no. We just create a new chat group. Like, for example, right now we have our December officers, is what we call it, and we just keep that going. And this is in-game chat, right? So a message tree that is the coagulant of everyone that is an R4 and the R5, a couple of the R3s, and maybe onesies or twosies throughout that do indeed rotate in and out, and just keeps complete transparency. That way, if they do come back up to R4, they are already well aware of everything that's going on, all the votes that are occurring behind the scenes, things like that. And we just keep that updated. And on the first next month, it'll be January officers, and it keeps it from I don't know too much mail. We all delete the mail because it bogs the game down, and it just keeps things a little bit more organized.
Yeah, I hear you. But that is a good way to not have everybody burned out, but at least spread around that leadership position because it's good to have everyone in the team do something or be help the team in something. You know. Let me fix this chat. All right. So another thing outside from having to make a strong alliance, because we're right now for those who are joining us right now, um, we're in point one, which is leadership. We talked about the R5. Another thing is the leadership needs to have tolerance and they need to follow their own rules as well because within the alliance, it's important that the alliance create rules for their members and for the nation. If you're a top one alliance, then it is important for you to create a rule for your nation to follow. That way, you guys can progress in being able to do the best that you can in winning an event like Void or Frenzy or Global Conquest, stuff like that that requires a nation's effort. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah, completely.
So though you
I
came
can.
from, sorry, what nation were you before Donju?
Started in 687, then switched to 734, and now I'm only in 52.
So can you tell me the leadership in your old nation?
Well, I left 687 because I had a lazy R5.
How, what do you
Um,
mean by that?
well, I was a complete noob. I mean, I thought this was a tower defense game, and it ended up being a whole lot more. But eventually, as you're getting into it and months pass, you start to notice something that isn't quite right. You start to optimize. You start giving ideas. People promote you to R4 for some reason, and you start, bouncing ideas off of people. And my R5's response at the time was something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Do it." But it wouldn't come from the top. It would come from me, and I'm the guy who's a noob, so nobody listened. There's no point in listening to a guy like that, obviously. So eventually, everybody says, "Oh yeah, great, great, great," and then 3 days later, everything goes back to normal. It reverts to the old ways of functioning. So I got sick of it and left.
Yeah, because I remember when I joined ED1, the minute I started like being involved with leadership and all that and throwing ideas and whatever, I became R4. I wake up and I'm R4. I don't know who to blame. It can't be Jay. I don't blame Jay. But I did not ask to be R4. I will be happy to be back as R1. But hey, I'm here.
You should probably check your shield time.
Yeah. My shield already dropped, so it's okay. You can go and hit me. Um, but yeah. So what I mean by rules is a strong alliance needs to work together. Meaning if you tell people, hey, if you're not gonna play the event, stay here or let us know. That way you can note down who is active and who is not. If your alliance only wants to focus on, let's say, Void and Elite Wars, then those members, they are vying to be able to be active on those two events that you're prioritizing. If said member cannot, then they can just say or write to an R4 or an R or the R5, be like, hey, I have a family thing to do, or hey, I don't feel good, I don't think I'm gonna make it. It's good to let them know. Communication is a really big thing to have for in your alliance. Like communication is like the number one thing to have. You gotta communicate with everybody. So if your alliance only focus on these certain events, you as a member, you need to, work yourself to do those events, to help as best as you can. So now when leadership put rules, be like, hey, first rule, you gotta have a shield on, obviously, if it's void or frenzy. Keep your shield on. If you don't have your shield on, we're gonna warn you, like, hey, wake up, put your shield. And for some alliance, talking about experience, from my experience in my alliance, if you don't have your shield an hour before the frenzy or the void, we're just gonna kick you out and burn you, or we just ask our other alliances to burn you. We're not gonna let you, we don't want you bleeding points if you can't answer the calls and text messages of putting the shield out. So that's like, is it a rule or more like a warning? I'm not sure, but I know most people alliances don't do that. They rather just, hey, we're just gonna defend them and just pray for the best that they don't get hit and they come online and bubble. Like, has anybody experienced that with people? Like, you got 30 minutes left, you call them, you have bombarded them in messages, and they don't come online. What do you do?
Oh yeah, and then that's when you expel them and kill them, and they come online 5 minutes later because they got the notification and start crying.
So I disagree with this. I utilize them. I put them in motion as they're volunteering to be the first bubble trap. And then rally the troops, get ready to time to fence it. They get zeroed. So be it, you already have bait. and bait that's gonna be zero no matter what. So utilize that if you have enough people online, rain them, and then when it's all said and done and it's over, we do 7-day boots out of the alliance. So 7 days is your penalty. You're gone out of the alliance. Get your shit together, rebuild, reheal, come back if you're able to, because extenuating circumstances they can occur. I mean, we've been playing this game for years now, so the bubble will drop. It's going to happen at least some point throughout your time playing. Now, if it's a consistent error, then that needs to be addressed for it. But we utilize them as bait because they're just volunteering themselves for being negligent.
So here's where I disagree. You may use them as bait. Maybe they're, let's say it's a player that has 100 mil BB. They're a very fat player. You call your people. You tell them, hey, we have a trap. Let's say you're against a nation that is way stronger than your nation and way more active. You don't have enough people for this defense, but you go and defend your member, and they have way more players. They're going to outscore you. So you're going to create a much bigger gap instead of just removing the person and destroying their troops. I'm saying maybe, okay, let's say you get an easy void, a void of somebody who has less members and they're not that strong, and you guys are much stronger than them. Then that bait will benefit you. Yes, it's just a matter of time. Like, you don't know if it's gonna work out or it's not gonna work out. It's like a risk, you know.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. There's 3 points of consideration. One, you can say that there's that first example you gave, the 100 mil BP player. You're going to have to fight that player, lose troops inevitably as a mass TA hit on them and within your own nation. And that's even before the hammer drops. And those same troops you lost, same troops he lost, could have been put towards an actual goal. So in my recommendation, and assuming you can get the amount of troops online to defend him, those same amount of troops would be able to be really able to kill him. So I would wait for the bell to ring and then do that. And then it also resonates that while you defended a player who's been in this alliance this long, it looks better than just kicking them and zeroing them and then hope for remorse and then maybe never coming back. So there's a few points of consideration with that. And like I said, the 100 mil BP example is a good one, but and then there are other players that are like, repeat offenders and around 20, 30 mil BP. Yeah, boot that ass.
Yeah. So the 100 MPP, I believe it. That one's a kind of hard one to like kick out and you burn it yourself, because obviously you will be the one to lose troops at more, not more, but you'll lose a lot of troops that you could use for void. I get that, but you also can use your second alliance. Send a second or third alliance to do it. But either way, the 100 BP mil player, it is a hard choice. Yeah, you can use it as a trap. That is good. But Jay, what would we do if we have 100 mil BP player and their shield drops? What would we do?
Let me burn.
Let's put Ritachi as the example. If Ritachi's shields drop and Void started, what are we doing?
Booting and burning me. That's what's happening.
Normally,
Yeah.
void start or before void?
Void
Yeah, I have a
started.
question.
Oh.
Because I never got an honest answer about this. But what is the difference between, this whole notion about leaking points? Is what's a differential versus a person who actively plays and loses troops versus one who forgot to unshield? Because if there isn't much differential, what's the whole purpose of burning the city anyway?
So somebody well, okay. In 52, we have an alliance that purposely bleed points because they hate
Okay, but
our alliance.
that's yeah, but that's changing the whole.
The whole. Okay, so you're talking about an individual, like one person, their shield dropped, and you just want to know if they're purposely bleeding. Is that what your question is?
Oh. No. Meaning, the greatest defense that I'm hearing here for people who forget to shield is is the sense of, well, you're leaking points. But the things I always ask, it's like if one city's fighting um, versus one city that's unshielded, what's the point? Are there points different from a person defending and another person attacking? Because in that
Uh,
sense, in
okay, so
Void,
in, in Frenzy there are.
in that case, in
Uh,
Void,
Let him finish.
in Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let me
Go
just
ahead.
get it out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So in that sense, rather it's frenzy or void. I don't know which, but what, because to me it just it doesn't seem feasible to um, burn a city because they're unshielded if the difference in points remain the same because there isn't a differential.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
In Void, there's no differential. Whether you're
Oh,
attacking or defending in Void, the points are the same. In Frenzy,
okay.
there's a big differential. Big, big, big. In Frenzy, when you attack, you gain triple the points than while you're defending. So if you have this alliance and they do massive defense, the attackers gain way more points than the defenders. So let's say they show this big report and they show that, oh, we killed this many, we made such huge points. No, the attackers gain the most points out of that, not the defenders.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right. So
why
that's
in
only
Frenzy, it's
in frenzy,
best. Yeah, in Frenzy.
and that's the one where you don't lose troops.
Yes, correct. Now in Void,
Okay.
when we're talking about Void, since the points are the same, whether you're defending or attacking, if a person's shields drop, ideally, most people will just defend because, hey, the points are the same. The thing is, you need to have, you need to have your team together to defend against this other team. What if this team has way more players coming in to this attack and then you defend it? Obviously, you guys are going to lose and you'll be bleeding points because they're going to gain a lot of points from that one defense if you're not matching or outmatching their participation of the attack, if that makes sense.
No, no, it does. It's like my world isn't good with the rules
What rule are
because
you
then
in?
nobody's able to 788.
788. Okay. So what's the rule
Yeah.
that people are not following in 788?
But it's not following, it's more like one it just kind of devolved into a lot of arbitrary rules. And obviously when people are asking questions like mine or anything like that, their their only response, obviously obviously this is going to be from the biggest alliance with the highest levels cities. It's like, no, just do this or we burn you. So it kind of devolved into low participation. Not people ended up leaving the game, leaving our nation, and just a lot of blaming going all around, saying everyone's a farmer or you leak this. Like, I think it has gone to a point where they're saying that, well, if you have to be a level 25 and then you can ask for permission to get troops higher than a level 4. I mean, that's a little insane.
A little extreme?
Nikki, he's having a
Yeah,
99 situation with BTS. That's what's going
Ah,
on.
I
um,
don't understand that reference.
so what the reference is, a 99 BTS is when my first nation, the one I started, Nation 85, then became Nation 81, merged into 99. Um, the 99 alliance that is BTS, which is their top alliance, The first thing they wanted to be the number one alliance. They did not want anything to do with everybody else. And whatever rules they make, that's the rule. That's what everyone's gonna follow. They did have farm alliances, and there's we had a civil war with this one alliance, and they stopped the civil war, but like they went to that alliance as more preferable. Like they protect those people instead of us who were the fighters or the void killers. They rather go with the farmers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, what it sounds like is it was just a self-fulfilling prophecy that they just made themselves,
Yeah, technically.
because I get that same kind of talk saying, well, who's going to protect you when the merge comes? I'm like,
You don't
who's
need
going to protect
protection.
me? Well, one, yeah, exactly. I don't need protecting because I'm not going to ask for help. And two, I would have been a lot stronger if you haven't, burned me. And it wasn't because I wasn't following the rules. It was because when they started just going really ham on, well, you got troops a little higher than a T4, so I'm going to burn them all. So um, that to me it was just like, look, ever since they started this, you know, and I think it was kind of last year, you cheated the entire nation at least 5 levels of going higher, and we would have been all right. And the biggest thing that I find so egregious is that, all right, because I was talking to the one who has the highest city, and because he's the one pulling the strings. I'm like, just tell me what, what's the point? What's the end game here? And the end game was, well, we need to be in a better position to fight in this coming merge. Or the merge is going to come. We want to be the hosting server. And I'm like, okay, so what do we gain? He goes, nothing. We're going to pull up flags and we're going to fight for space. Okay, that happened when I first started the game. So, and before Frenzy, I played the game, you know, when it was 3 years old. So it's like that's exactly what happened when I first started playing the game. So what else? What else you got? Well, well, he goes, well, I'll tell you the bad news. The bad news is that if they're a really stronger alliance, you know, at least we got to show a show of force, and we may be able to merge with them. So, and then I come back and I say, so you mean to tell me, even if you're destroying alliances because you want just 2 alliances per nation, you're you're saying that you're gonna get the best players, burn everybody else, not making them strong, not making them grow, and not even keep the alliance. You're going to negotiate just to merge that one big alliance if they just so happen to be a little bit stronger than you. So again, why are we playing this game if it is the whole point, is it not? To fight each other to see who wins. It feels like they're only playing just to make sure that the only victor. You know, like a like
Can
like a
I
boxer,
can I
like a
comment?
boxer always picking
Let him finish a
fighters
little bit.
out of their prime.
Can I
Okay.
comment on
Yes, you
this
can
real
comment.
quick?
Sure, go.
This is the Cholo from 219. I don't know if anybody knows much about 219, but it is a competitive nation. I think
Hmm.
Evergen will confirm that. And
I can confirm it.
we live in a nation of rules. I happen to be the R5 of the one alliance in that world that doesn't necessarily go with the rules.
Are you
Um,
from John?
He's the opposition. He's the opposition.
Are you from
um,
John?
He
this
is
is
from John.
this is John R5, yeah.
What's
And
up?
what's going on? Um, I can tell you there is still a lot of fun to be had in this game, right? And I can tell you from my experience, we are an alliance. We don't follow the rules of our top alliance, which is Sin. That's Evergen's alliance, and they are legit, right? They are one of the top alliances in the game, and you can't get around that fact. And every world has an alliance like that. They all have a world that has players that spend a lot of money. They get together and they're always strong. I mean, we fight worlds in the 600s and elite worlds that are way stronger than us, and we've been around a long time. So it's hard to get around that dichotomy of smaller alliances, bigger alliances. But the game is designed to allow smaller alliances and smaller cities to still be productive. And I can tell you from a personal experience, we still fight for points, right? I let cities that drop shields burn. Um, sure, you can use them for bait, but any city you use for bait, I'm telling you, if it's during an event, there is more enemies in your nation than you can see. They'll speed in from all corners, and you might come out on top point wise, but usually it's going to be a loss. The only time we ever do that is with a player that is online and able to shield once the battle starts. The biggest reason is our top alliance Sin will hit us if we defend. We accept that as a repercussion, right? But it becomes a point loss if you defend cities that are not online, and they happen to drop shields. You gotta let them burn. Um, their hospitals hold troops. I mean, they're not going to lose everything. Hopefully, they're hiding something. You always have the alliance fort, but you can't defend a lost cause. Um, Over time, you will end up losing troops. You will end up losing points, and worlds that defend, they lose. That's my 2 cents.
Logan, I better listen to Cholo. Like what he's saying is true. 100% true. The only
No, no,
way
that
a bait could work, like like whatever Flex said that you can use as a bait, is if the person's online and they can shield. Because a lot of people in the YouTube comments are mentioning that, so I'm gonna read it out loud. The only way that could work that it can be turned into a bait if it's a person is online and they can bubble to restrict how many people join into that attack to give you a more leverage in gaining more points for that so-called bait. But Cholo, I appreciate your comment. What you said is pretty much true. And Logan, I do hope, as much as a stream, because I need to move on to a different topic, but I do appreciate you coming in. I just hope, you can find the answers as we progress. Because I'm not gonna be here long, so I need to move on with the topic. But I do hope that you find the way to be able to play in your nation.
Can I give one passing comment just as a
Go for it.
last thing? Logan, because you're playing in the 700s, if I heard correctly.
I think he's 800.
Aside from, oh,
yeah,
okay.
700,
Oh,
Aside
788.
$788.
from aside from leaving the nation and going somewhere else, which is always an option, if you want to prove your worth individually, just go ham for one void. Take your resources, hoard it up for 2, 3 months, however long it takes. Get top 10. And then people will not only notice, but they will probably give you a stronger city because they see value in you as a person, as a player, rather.
I agree completely with that.
Correct.
100%.
Yep. 100%. So basically, you gotta show yourself your worth. Like, play the event the alliance is trying to win. Like that event they're trying so hard to win. Let's say it's a void or a frenzy. Show them what you're made of, and they will see that. They will see it. And if they don't, screenshot it and plaster it all over their face. Because people be blind. All right. So thank you very much. So we're gonna move on. Let's see, where were we? We were in leadership, so I'm gonna move on. The second one. The second thing to have a strong alliance. What makes oh, sorry. Woo, I hit my mic. What makes a strong alliance? High activity. No, I could say this could be like the number one thing that makes an alliance strong, but the alliance has to have a lot of members online. Participating members, not just online looking at the messages and not doing anything. They have to be there for the fight or there for the event. And what makes, let's say, ED1, SYN, UBN, 524, like 5-4, yeah, 5-4. Um, is their high activity. So ED1 and SYN are well known that we can bring 90 to 80 people. We can bring 90 to 80 people to an attack, to an elite war. We're ready, we'll fight. It's well known. There's videos. If you check my channels, there's videos of that. UVN, who recently had a merge 3 months ago, 4 months ago, at all hours, 24 hours, they have minimum 60 to 50 people. And not a lot of alliances can do that. Minimum and ED1, 24 hours, depending the time, we may have 30, 40, 10, 15. The
That's
worst.
all we need.
That, yes, exactly. That's all we need. 15 people will go hit a city that is like 80 to 90 BP. I don't care. We're going 15 in. Because we're that strong. We're strong enough. We're old. We're a very old nation, and our city stats are, it's pretty strong. But not a lot of alliance can do what UBN can do. Have 60 ready at all hours in the day. 60 to 80. It's just that they have such high activity. And I just wish ED1 had that, but I guess we need a merge for that. Because we're in dire need of a merge. So even though UBN has, and UBN is from 269. I'm talking about the nation in 269, UBN, Great Alliance, love them. Their average in city stats is only 1,070. I think that's what Polo told me. I feel like it's more than that, but he says the average stats in attack in the UVN cities of all 100 players they have is 1,070, while SYN and ED1 were close to 1,200 or 1,100. And UVN has gone against Void against 219 and 52. So what made them beat 52 and
At what
219?
point?
Even though their stats are low, even though they're not the strongest, they're high activity. They had members, they had people ready for the attack. They had around 60 people to go in on an attack. If you see the videos, 52 only, we didn't even have enough. We went in, but they had 60 to 80 players ready. 219 could have experienced that, but no, they sucked at the bubble trap. So we don't talk about that, but it's in the video if you want to check it out. But my point here, by showing these averages and stats, their strength is in their numbers. So another thing that makes a strong alliance, high activity, having the numbers. So that's my point. Anybody want to comment on that?
I have to comment on that.
Go for it.
As a 219 member, you're 100% correct. We just don't have the numbers. I mean, I don't know if Evergen will confirm, but in my opinion, our world needs a merge badly. My method for recruiting members is I take over alliances. That's what I do. And I am out of alliances to take over, right? I mean, there's just not enough active players. So I can only use whatever active players I have, and it's just not enough.
Sorry about
SYN, they do it better than anybody. They can regularly get 80 plus members for Elite Wars, for Void attacks. It's pretty impressive. It's something I've never seen in other worlds, but they do it regularly, day in, day out. And if you can't get participation like that, you're gonna get beat. It doesn't matter how good your stats are; they can still beat you.
Facts. 52 too. Don't forget about 52.
No, 52 also. No. Yeah, I mean, but still, it's about participation. I mean,
Yes.
you get into alliances where they require participation, and honestly, it becomes dedication to the game. I mean, yes, it's a recreational phone game, but in a lot of ways, it's also a pay to win game for a lot of players. And you have to make a decision. You can either fight your world and not try to be helpful, which is not helpful, or you can try to win. And you have to have players to win because all the other worlds do. And if you're going to be competitive, you have to have numbers.
For sure. You need to have numbers. But also, another important thing in having numbers is having spenders. You need to have spenders. I'm not saying that somebody who's a low to medium spender is not important. I'm gonna get to that point. But the spenders usually are the ones that have, if they know what they're spending on and if they know what they're buying and upgrading, usually are the ones that have strong cities. So, to another thing to have a strong alliance, you need to get these strong cities into your alliance. So that's where a good leadership comes in. If you have a good leadership, they can recruit these players or they can work and make agreements or make talks and having this other alliance that have the spenders in them to merge into that alliance to make a much stronger alliance, if that makes sense. So spenders are very important to have. Now, key point is though, still, even if the person is a spender, does not mean that the person is a good player. What do I mean by that? Even if this person spends, does this person know what they're doing in, oh, they're gonna go do an attack. Oh, they're gonna go do a defense. Oh, the shield dropped. Like this the spender aspect is important, but you also gotta look deeper into it, into the player. So if the player is not good, but they do spend, you rather just avoid them. That's where it comes in of the lower spending players, the lower to none to medium. These players don't spend and their cities are not that strong, but you see the activity. You see them come in and try to be helpful as much as they can in the defense, in the attacks, in any event. At least they're trying to be a part of the team. So even though their cities are not strong, even though they don't spend, I'd rather have that player who is active and tries to be in the team rather than a spender who has a strong city that doesn't do much for the team, if that makes sense. Does anybody agree or
What?
disagree?
Oh, completely agreed.
Anybody else? No comments?
Agreed.
There's a very big distinction between the old worlds and the new worlds when it comes to this. Because in the newer worlds, like 600 and above, if you are a big whale, you have the absolute autonomy of the map during kill event. Regardless if it's frenzy or void, it doesn't matter. You can just do whatever the hell you want. Because you're about 2.5 years way ahead of everybody else, and if they defend, they are absolutely screwed.
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
I have arguably the second strongest city in my world in my alliance. Um, and to be honest, doesn't do much with his city, but he participates in Elite War. Um, the other thing he does is he attacks the top alliance in my world. Those are the only two reasons I keep him. But here's another aspect you get. Um, People look at your alliance and they see a C41, and you don't get that in every alliance, right? And it makes a statement. It helps you recruit. It helps you get other players from other worlds. Um, Spenders make a difference. Sure, they can run the board, but that only goes for some time. They always run into a wall every time you merge. You might have one city that runs your world. We have one city slash alliance that runs our world. There's just no way of getting around that. There's always going to be that in every world. There's going to be somebody that spends a little bit more than everybody else. But getting spenders in your alliance is key. I have a lot of players in my alliance who don't spend a dollar, but I wouldn't be where I was without the spenders that I have.
Okay. So
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah, sure, go. You can comment.
Sorry, I was about to say for the newer worlds, that's actually a huge difference. For example, I'm in 987, so a fairly recent world. We have a guy that spends like 3-4K a month on the game. He has like a C31. None of the players go against him. Doesn't matter. He doesn't know how to attack. There's no formations. He just sends everything he has. And he loses a lot of troops on events like KE and stuff like that. But like 2 days later, he gets the BP back. He recruits again. He spends a tons of money, and yeah, no, no smaller city like the C26 that we have. No one risks going against him. He does basically whatever he wants.
Oh wow.
I mean, he's not big enough to kill yet, so it doesn't
No.
matter. Even if you do kill him, what, you're gonna kill 400,000 troops. He's gonna have it by tomorrow.
So for me,
No, it doesn't come against me, for example, because I'm a C31 as well. But for the smaller players, if you don't have like 2 or 3 of these whales in your alliance, it becomes a little bit difficult.
mm, so for me to explain this better for the newer worlds, because it is very different for us older worlds of what we do and what we experience. At some points, you guys are gonna experience what we're experiencing. It all depends on the time. Um, so I'm just gonna talk about the difference between 524 going against 693. Who is 693? 693 is a well-known Lock Nation. They have Ronald, Chinese Ronaldo, as people will call him, and the other guy. Both of these cities are maxed in troops, all because all they have done is recruit, but they're also maxed in stats. Max Plane, Max Titans. So two very powerful cities. And 524 is a well-known nation because it has a guy named Great One and a alliance called CBC that was run by Maddie. And this is an alliance that everybody knows that are huge spenders. Like probably 98% of the alliance are spenders. Maybe I'm wrong, but majority of the alliance are spenders. And they're pretty strong. These two worlds went against each other in Void. And from the reports that I've seen, even though 693 has only 2 whales, when 524 went to attack a city from POW from 693, and the 2 whales defend, 524 may win, but they get a lot of losses. So it's like it would hurt them a lot when these two players come in, even though they have 20, 14, 15 people against 3 players, because 2 of them are whales with very powerful cities. So either way, 524 won because 693 couldn't recruit, obviously because the 2 whales already max recruit. But it was, from what I heard, it was a hard battle for them, even though they're strong, even though they have spenders. These 2 whales, it was just hard going against the 2 players that are maxed out on everything. So it's good to have a whale on your side, but it depends if the whale, follows that vision the top alliance and the nation follows, if that makes sense. I could talk about Nine Vegas. He's a well-known player who has
Oh, no.
what,
Please
4,
don't.
5 max cities?
Oh, no,
But
not
I
that
never,
much.
but I never know. Does he have a team? I always bring up the topic that
No,
does he have a
no, he
team?
doesn't. He doesn't.
No, because his
The
team
thing
are the
about
cities that the cities that he plays with.
Yeah, and also there's it's sort of like a double-edged sword. When you have especially again, I can qualify for the newer worlds. I can't qualify to talk about the older ones, at least not yet. Um, when you have a person like Nine Vegas, for example, who does have four maxed out cities or close to being maxed out, it's a wild ride to go against them. But the rest of the people are so used to this guy just winning everything by himself that they tend to give up. And not only give up participation wise, but they also give up in city building. They just farm resources, probably just to give it to him, to be honest, if he doesn't just buy it from the shop. But they don't really know anything. They are not coordinated. They're not disciplined. They have no idea what's happening. And as
Yeah.
long as he keeps winning for them, it's going to just continue on the
Yes.
same trend.
So the one thing I do see in a lot of new nations, and I'm sure I I have seen this before because I've been playing the game for almost what, 4 or 5 years, that the whale, the strongest person in the world, he becomes like a one player denominator who will decide if your world will win or not because he can do majority of the attacks, if that makes sense. And I have seen that before. Like we all have experienced it. At some point, you got the newer worlds, you guys have to start, you know, making communication with this person, try to win them over and get him in your alliance if you're a top one alliance. Um, but like I said, if a person is a spender, yes, it's great to have them, but look deeper if they will participate and help the alliance, not just spend and do nothing, if that makes sense. But at some point,
In terms
everybody
of
will have to
recruiting,
start, you know, getting getting to know everybody, making whatever you can do to make your alliance stronger and work as a team. Because at this point right now, the mega spenders, they're not thinking about team playing. They're thinking about solo playing. They're gonna play by themselves and attack anything they want because they can. They have the power to do that. You were gonna say
You
Doju?
guys hear me?
Oh, hi Viper.
um,
Yes, we can hear you.
I was gonna say in terms of recruiting a whale, from my experience, there's nothing that you can say to this person to put them into your alliance unless you share a very common vision and they're dissatisfied with their alliance. But that is the key factor. If a whale wants to come to you, it's not particularly about something that you've done to win them over. It's basically their old alliance has failed them, which is a prerequisite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Facts. I mean, that's where I get my whales. I wait for the top alliance to let them go. Some leave on better terms than others, but if that's how you get a whale, if they have a grudge, even better. Um, that's how it happens sometimes. You can also, I have to be honest, um, merge with other alliances. Some alliances have bigger cities than others, and it comes times. I mean, sometimes you have to let cities in your group go, and if that means merging, merge. If that means getting a whale, even better.
Yeah,
Coming
but
coming from
oh,
coming from
sorry.
some of the older nations into the newer nations, the we kind of went through this when we all first started off years ago, and these newer nations like World 12 I'm in too is kind of going through the same thing where um, we already have C38s and C39s, going in and taking over the whole jam and Iron Blood, and just tearing it up, right, man? They're just dropping stacks. And that's it. They're making a name. They're making a name for themselves. And they're gonna you know be able to form those alliances and be able to carry strong. And that's what we did back in the day. And it's all about what we were talking about. It's about participation and the requirements that we hold our players to in order to continue to perform and win those events that we want to continue on, just like you guys have throughout the last years. And that's why you're at the leaderboards on Elite Wars. I dropped off for a few years, and when I came back, there you are. But back in the day, when we first came in, we were sitting there going, "Hey, how did we get there?" And boom, there you are. Today, the new guys up here in Worlds 12 and 13, they're trying to do that, and so for the whales, they're dropping stacks. They're going through like that gentleman was talking about earlier. Yeah, they're definitely they're not going to have an opportunity to compete like that. But at the same time, it's not necessarily about how much you spend. It's about how much you can participate, show up, and learn, and make sure that you listen and follow directions to your R4s and learn about all the tactics and skills that we train and teach you about.
Yeah, you're right. But another thing is that I want to say is that for for what's her name again? Sorry, Cholo from John? Cholo, yes, Cholo. So Cholo, I I know
Yeah.
the story about your whale. I know the story, and I've seen it. Um, I'm just gonna say that nothing against about your lions and nothing against about your whale. I know 219 and I know SYN, and their priority is void. So what I'm trying to say is
100%.
for everybody, in a world, it's if your top one alliance say, hey, we prioritize void. Void is our event. Please follow the rules that we're gonna put in. Like, hey, don't bleed out points. Don't do this. Don't do that. If
I
they start expelling players, it's because said player has broken the rules too many times. I'm
one
pretty sure.
one 100%. 100%.
So, uh-huh.
I fully agree. But sometimes to get a whale, you need to get a whale. And I've had big cities join my alliance because they've got booted from my top alliance and they haven't stayed. Sometimes they just don't work out. I use my whale for a purpose. I use them particularly for Elite Wars, and it benefits my alliance. It's a mutual agreement, right? So like what you were saying earlier, you have to analyze the player. Um, I agree. Our nation is void focused. Some of the other events we don't really pay too much attention to. That is our focus, and my alliance is the same. Um, but yeah, I know the history. There's a lot of history there, and you're right. I mean, I can't say 100% that city benefits me in the way it should, but it still benefits. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like at least you can use him for elite wars. Um.
Correct.
So
It's a selfish reason, but I use them for that reason. I mean, I
yeah.
have to be honest. We are a void war focused nation, and that city in particular does not participate in void war. I haven't seen him do it in my alliance yet. And does that mean I should keep him? There's a lot of days I think not. But at the point now, especially since they opened C41 and that happened in like 2 hours, sure, I'm gonna hang on to that.
Yeah, I see. But my point
One
would be,
question.
oh yeah, sure. What's your question?
Sure. So he might not participate in Void, but at least he follows the rules, right? He doesn't leak points. He bubbles when he needs to bubble and stuff like that. Otherwise, you would kick him out, right?
Well, here's the thing. He
Um,
was in the top one alliance, and he would drop bubble to. Was it? Is it only on Void or Frenzy Gen that he was doing that? I know in Frenzy he would selfishly drop his bubble when the
That was
gap was so bad that you
no,
guys were
no, that
like,
was no. He had too many. He had too many BP to do that at Void. That was a frenzy thing.
ah, okay.
He was definitely not going to do that at Void. He had over 100 million BP. That was no.
Okay, so it was a frenzy thing, but still, you guys have your frenzy rules. Like, hey, don't bleed in frenzy, don't defend in frenzy, don't do this and that, because even though everybody, as we say that we are a void nation, we would like to win frenzy too. We it's okay. We don't focus on frenzy, but
Right.
it'd be nice to win.
Right. I mean, if we, we would prefer to. If we don't, we don't. It's not the end of the world. It's frenzy, but
But still, you
we
guys
just
gotta follow the rules. You gotta follow
yeah.
the like, hey, don't bleed, don't drop bubbles, shield. I get it. It's not an important event for us, but it'll be nice to win. Yeah.
I can't say a whole lot for what went on in the previous alliance before that player came to my alliance. I know there's some friction there. I know that player was since coming to my alliance was zeroed from the top alliance. So uh, they've rebuilt and they haven't dropped any shields, or purposely given points in events in my group. I can't say for what went on before. I know there's friction there. That's not going to stop, I'm sure. But it's like it's exactly what you said. If it became a liability to where that city was constantly giving points, it's not that I have the power to be able to do anything, but I could remove them from the alliance. But they haven't done that to this point. So I know there's friction between the top alliance and that city. That's always going to be there. That's just, I'm okay taking that liability. But that player hasn't purposely given points that I have seen other than to the top alliance when they dropped a shield. And I monitor that, and that's just something that leadership has to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, it's great that he's helping you in Elite Ward, and at least he's keeping bubble. That's a good thing. I can't talk much of the alliance that bleeds a lot in 52 because they're like the total opposite. So that's they they just bleed purposely. They just want us to lose. Anyways. So, okay, let me anybody has another comment on that? Like they have a whale who does, they just, they're on their own, or they're it's not working out in a group, or you're trying to recruit one, but it's getting hard to recruit that one person, or you don't see that it's worth it, if that makes sense.
You know what's funny? I've heard this story in the Mega Whale chat we have from. I'm a newer player to this game, but I'm from Game of War, and I'm very well known over there. And I've heard this story in the Mega Whale chat we have of all the old Game of War whales. So I think I know this player you're talking about.
Really now?
Yeah, there's a lot of us that came from Game of War in the last couple years. A lot of us Mega Whales came over, and it's been interesting. But there's still a big chat of about 600 people that are big spenders from back in the day, back in my era of Game of War.
Anyone relevant?
From Game of War?
Yeah.
From Game of War, yes. My name is Stay Alive 77. I was the first emperor, and I was an emperor for the first year. I was ranked #1 player in the world for many years in that game.
No. I was just curious. Like you said, like a bunch came over, and I was like just curious, like if they did come over, like maybe we'd know their names. Like, do you know their names?
Oh.
Like we're trying to like is anybody relevant or something like that.
A lot of them moved around. A lot of them changed their names. They're in servers everywhere. I mean, there's people in 681. There's people in my server in 1026. There's people all over the place. It's just a matter of finding them. A lot of them changed their names from their Game of War names just because they didn't want to know who they were. But there's a lot of us from the Game of War era that are playing here. And a lot of us are learning. Like for me, I'm learning this game. It's the same game, but it's different in a lot of aspects. But when you break down, it's still the same basic ways of fighting.
And spending.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, money is money. I mean, I dropped over $6 million in 7 years in Game of War, and I was the #1 player in the world. I fought against MZ for a lot of their spending habits, did player spending bans and things of that nature. I mean, you can Google my name and find all the stories from those days. There's a lot of us here that have no problem putting our money where our mouth is, especially some of these newer worlds. But what I'm looking for is like for me, I unfortunately chose a state that's not the best. Um, I've been offered to go other states, but I've enjoyed it so far learning this game. And sure, I'll play differently on my next date.
I'll link my PayPal if you want to donate.
Yeah, yeah, we
Did you
yeah we
say
can
you're
definitely
from
put your
Yeah.
funds to a relevant nation, and we don't change our names here. I'm just curious.
One thing
If
I
you
have
ever
seen, and I
decide,
guess this is
if
the
you
right
ever
place to
decide to
ask,
leave,
is buying and selling accounts legal in this game?
Okay,
I
No,
see it
so
all the
we're live
time.
streaming right now, and then we cannot talk about that. Sorry. The game does
no
not
one buys and
allow
sells here
such
at all,
things.
ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I'm
So
asking if it
wink,
was
wink.
legal or
Cough,
not.
cough. Please, let's not mention. We can talk about it later. Um,
Okay.
we can talk about that later. Let's finish the stream first. So the stream for the people who are joining in, it's about what makes a strong alliance. I have thrown out the points of having one, a good leadership, two, having high activity, three, spenders, and number four, gotta have some good spenders. And what did you say, chicken?
Cocaine and hookers.
The what?
cocaine and hookers.
Not not to discredit anything that Chicken ever says, because I would never do that. But I would say like having a good like social community amongst the other things, because obviously anyone can buy stuff, anyone can do this, anyone can be active, but like having a good social community, I think makes a really really good tier alliance. Because as I was saying on another one the other night, it yeah, it definitely matters how much some people spend in your team to remain relevant. But it definitely doesn't determine, good, bad, or indifferent. If say because my alliance, we've never had a whale per se, and we definitely have probably more than 10 or 15, free to play players. A commensurate amount of moderate to whatever level spenders, and then henceforth. But I think a good like social community of like engagement, like make people feel part of a team. Like, hey, if they need something, they can ask somebody. If they ask somebody and they don't answer because they're off or dealing with wives, kids, husbands, whomever, they can ask somebody else. Like a good social hierarchy, if you will. I think that's like one of the bigger determining factors versus you know and
Yeah.
and and not even like the languages, because like we have people from Europe, Brazil, South America, like all over the world in ours, as I'm sure many other teams do as well. But I think the social connection really kind of secures and drives that
Mm.
winning factor to a certain degree.
Yeah, so that's part of having communication. So communication
Yeah.
is key, as the saying goes. Um,
Yep.
I also mentioned about that even if you want to get spenders, you need to look at this person, if they participate, if they try their best to help the alliance, because most of the times those people that do that are the lower to none spenders. So if you see a lower to non-spender, even though their city is not strong, but they're trying their very best to be part of the alliance, to be part of the attack, part of the defense, then 99% chance I would rather have this player than a spender that just does not do anything for the alliance. So that's a point I did mention earlier. But yes, communication, very important thing to have in an alliance. If there's no communication, it's not even a team. Like in a team, you have to communicate with your teammates, right? To win a game, you gotta communicate, you gotta strategize, you gotta have the talks, you know?
Yep.
Yep. And the last point, the last very point, I think it's important, the most important or like close to what communication is for the team to have a common goal, common vision in what they want the alliance to be. So if you want your alliance to be a strong alliance, you gotta have the same vision and same goal. You gotta have that in your team. So if you tell your members, if you're a good R5 or leadership, you have a good leadership, and they tell you, hey, our goal, we're trying our best to be strong. We're going to prioritize this event and this event. Let's work our best to, to win these events. So you're going to motivate your members, communicate with your members, and support them and give them, hype them up to, for you to get to that common goal of winning said event that you're going to prioritize. Right? Anybody want to throw a comment? Agree, disagree? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with this. Being an alliance that is solely built on disagreeing with the top alliance, that is our goal. And I have to be honest. I mean, we wouldn't be where we were. Sorry, wife sneezing. We wouldn't be where we were if we didn't have that goal, right? Everybody in my alliance disagrees with the top alliance. Does that mean we fight against our world? No, we fight with our world. But does that mean when we're not fighting in events that we fight with the top alliance? Sure. But that's our unifying goal. You have to find that unifying goal, because if your players aren't unified, they end up somewhere else.
Does anybody in the newer world,
True.
are you guys like in leadership, or are you experiencing that in your alliance, or any, you want to throw a comment about that?
Yeah, I'm an R5 of the second
You poor
top
soul.
alliance in my world. Yeah,
You could have run
I know.
away.
I have Angela. So
You have anger
Angela is
issues.
helping me, so. But yeah, we went through something interesting, per se.
Do
So
tell.
the leader of our alliance just disappeared, stopped playing from one day to the other. So the R5 role dropped to the R4 with the most BP. And yeah, he started making a huge mess in the whole nation, like attacking protected alliance and stuff like that. And then for 3 weeks he went completely silent. Like, he would log in, do ruins, hunt monsters and stuff like that, but he wouldn't say a word to anyone in the alliance, to the point that everyone was like, okay, let's leave, let's go all to the top alliance. The day that people started leaving, he came to me and said, okay, I'll give you the R5. So I've been trying to rebuild the whole alliance. So most of the top players that left never came back. So, but still, throughout all this, we still managed to keep second place. So we went from first to second. But yeah, that's life. So now we're rebuilding. Not too close to them, but still, it's going okay, I would say. Sometimes it's difficult to deal with younger players' egos. So people that they're not completely new to the game. So they've been playing for a while, but never got too far. They don't know a lot of things, and they basically, because they have, for example, a C26 in a world where the majority is like C22, C24, something like that, they think they know better. So, for example, I have a player that it's a good player, he participates in events and he does well and everything, but every KE and even in Voids, Voids no Frenzy, he refuses to bubble. He never bubbles. Never. Last frenzy, we lost tons of points on his account, and I'm like, okay, he's like the one of the top 10 players in my alliance. Do I kick him out because he doesn't follow the rules? But if I do, the alliance will drop in the ranking in the alliance ranking, and we have a deal with the nation. The top 3 alliances are basically protected, so we don't attack each other outside of KE. So yeah, I don't want to let the alliance drop too much. Otherwise, we drop that protection, and for the newer players, it's quite important. So it's kind of a balance.
In
It
my
has
opinion,
been a
and I'm
fun journey.
sure.
I would burn him for this.
All
Yeah,
right, Jay,
in
do you want to comment on that?
Yes, kick him and burn him. So you will save any donation from him.
Of course, Jay. Of course, of course. Who was that man talking? Like I couldn't see who it was.
It was Johnny.
Yeah,
Johnny,
it
you
was
want to
me, but
comment
I
on
heard.
that?
No, it was me, but I heard Mr. J talking, so I was gonna like let him go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say like,
You there? Did he get muted? Can't hear you, Johnny.
no, I'm talking. I thought somebody was saying something. That's all.
No, because you stopped and you weren't talking.
Well, no, yeah, because I was going to like say something, and I heard Mr. J talking, and I didn't want to interrupt him. But no, like just short caveat, and I'm sure other people could, agree in the same fashion. If you've got a top void player, which is generally what I like to play, also, but they don't bubble during frenzy, yeah, they have to do something because that's unfair to y'all just in y'all's team. If y'all go out and put forward effort into void and frenzy and he just gets points. And obviously, it's lesser for y'all's nation because it's defense and whatnot because he doesn't bubble, and y'all are obviously spending money. Then yes, he should get corrected or zeroed or reset, however you want to call it, to some fashion. Give him a warning if he does it again. Then after that, yeah, you need correction. Like you can't always ride off the backs of your teammates for points or rewards or anything like that. That's unfair to y'all.
So basically, you gotta set your foot down. You
Yeah,
gotta,
yeah. I mean, yeah, and it seemed like he said like that player. It seemed like they said they had like nation rules and whatnot, and yeah, if somebody doesn't do this way, even though it is frenzy, then yeah, you know, even if it's as simple as like hey, as soon as reset starts in frenzy, first minute or two, you call the other alliance or you pick him right before, and then you kill his troops in frenzy, so he doesn't actually lose them, but he loses the ability to give points, type thing. But one of those things. But yeah, it seems like it's totally unfair to y'all. So yeah, fuck him if he can't be a team player. It doesn't take
exactly.
that long to log in and bubble.
So that's why if you know somebody who's not a team player, don't keep him in your team. Kick him out. Let him go.
Yeah.
Because it's a
And
All
team's
of
game.
UBN.
Wait, what?
I said rip all of UBN. We all drop shields.
UBM is a good team. Don't listen to Chicken. He's retired. He
I don't
has
know. We all
dementia.
drop shields in frenzy.
I don't know. I don't know how your frenzy went, but
We've lost
Gabs.
everyone.
Oh Lord. But you have won all voids, so you're a void nation. Shush. Anyways, so Gab has a question, and I'm hoping anybody would like to answer. At what point does coordination between the whale or whales become important? So does that mean like at what point do the alliance try to recruit this whale, or because I'm not really
Yeah, it's kind of a
understanding.
loaded question. There needs to be more context, I think.
Well, for me, in the beginning. Straight in the beginning. If in the beginning you notice this person, oh my God, this guy's a whale, he's spending, try to send some messages. Slide into those DMs, we become friends with the whale. But if you see that the whale, as the game progresses, is when you realize, okay, this is what I want my alliance to be. This is how we're gonna run the world, and the whale does not follow that vision or goal. Just let the whale go. Or hey, communication. Try to talk to them. Be like, hey, this is our goal. This is our vision. Help us get this vision going. Most of the times, it's the whale that will implement what the world is gonna be. But if you have a whale that is more, I don't know, more quiet or more, just playing for themselves, that's when a top alliance will decide, right? That
Do
they
you
My
have
guys
whale is
encounter
my.
many whales?
so one at a time, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was asking if you encounter many scammer whales, because the top whale in my world, it's basically, well, it's not 100% confirmed, but he's trying to sell his city. He gets the money, never gives the city to the person that paid, and spends the money to increase the power of that city. He's done that like 5 times so far.
5 times and nobody has stopped or not listened. Oh my god. Okay, I
Has
have
anyone sold a player to like their VIP or other players' VIPs? You can definitely get that
yeah,
searched,
and get them banned.
you know, or just
Um,
plan a nation attack on that player and like, hey, cool, we're gonna do a multi-alliance TA on.
damn, 5 times. Your nation must be very gullible. Wow.
Gift card.
Allegedly 5 times. There's no
Evidence.
real concrete proof that I've seen so far. So it's
Okay.
just people complaining that they paid like 5K for a city for a C32, but never got the
5K?
city paid the
5K
money.
for
Holy
Yeah,
C32? What?
yeah.
It's the new nation. Oh my god, it's the new nation vibe of that. I remember back in the day that would it be for us, but now older nation is like you can easily buy a city
You
way cheaper, much stronger in an older nation. But again, I cannot talk about that. Let's move on. You guys gonna get me in trouble, but we can talk about it
No,
later. We can talk about it later. So
there's no city buying going on. That doesn't happen.
that's not the point. I have to cut it out from YouTube. You guys are making me do more work than I have to. Oh god. But the point is, to the question of Gabs, he meant that the whales working together and having and working as a team. Like I said, straight in the beginning. Because if they get used to being a solo player, once they're implemented into a team, that's all they're gonna do. They will have the solo player mentality. So you gotta implement them early on, like try to grab them early on so that they can get used to playing in a team, right? Anybody?
No comment.
Love that
We have
comment.
people from the 900s and the thousands currently here. Uh, just piece of advice. Those people that are telling you that they have X years of experience in the game and that this and that, highly likely that they are just people who got their ass spanked in the previous one, so they're starting anew. That's number one. Number two, please don't do capital rotations and alliance protection and stuff. Please fight each other to the very death for as long as possible because troops don't cost a lot right now. And you can learn a lot and you can create a bond with your team while you're at it.
Or
I'd like to go back to
the frenzy thing, the bubbling thing. I'm from 343. I'm the R5 of Die. We've been the number one
It's not
alliance
Barry?
there for about 3 years.
Oh wait, you said 343. Sorry.
Yeah, 343. But we have a city who has not bubbled in frenzy about 4 times. Um he doesn't participate in void a ton, but he has the highest BP in our nation, and he's in our alliance, and he's a really good guy. But it does seem like he leaves his bubble down in frenzy, and just wondering what's the best steps to take to try to just I've spoke to him, I've told him, and he's always got a good excuse, but it seems like it only happens in frenzy, and like I said, this is the 4th time. But on the other hand, he's one of the strongest cities in our nation.
Is frenzy your priority? Is frenzy an event that you are prioritizing, or is it more like
Frenzy, I guess not. It's not really that we're prioritizing frenzy. It's just the fact that it's happened so many times.
does he
I
do
mean,
that in
you want to
Void?
win all. No, absolutely not. No,
Okay,
he
okay.
never in void.
Is he in your
Send
But he's
team?
a really strong city.
Send him a
He is
warning,
in our
and if he does it again, kill him.
No,
yeah.
I'm trying to get more
It's
context. I'm
just,
trying to get more context. Is he in your alliance?
he is in our alliance. Yes, he is in our
Okay,
alliance.
he's in your alliance. And all he does in frenzy is drop shield.
Yeah, exactly.
Does he participate in Void? Does he participate in Elite Wars? Tell me more about this player. Does he participate?
He does participate. Not per se like some of our players, but like I said, he's one of the strongest players in our alliance. So he's a game changer when he is participating. And that's what I say. Should I just leave it alone because it's frenzy?
Okay. All right. I have two of the best people, the best R5s I know. I have Jay and I have Polo. Um,
He does all right in void. I'm not gonna say he does great in void. I
okay.
mean, I finished.
So I'm gonna let Jay and Polo answer you. Or the Polo, have you been listening?
Yeah, I've been listening.
All right. Can you answer him? And then I'll let Jay answer because Jay has like a typical answer, so I'm gonna leave him last.
I think that's
You
the
already know
longest
my answer.
discussion
So.
I've ever heard about Battle Frenzy ever.
Well, it's just that the it just keeps happening over and over, and he's a big enough city that if he stays on bubble, you're gonna lose.
So he has
No,
a high BP city, and he doesn't drop bubble and void, but he's doing it in Battle Frenzy. He's doing it on purpose. He wants key points in Battle Frenzy. He doesn't care, and honestly, the Alliance shouldn't care either. It's Battle Frenzy. I mean, if you guys really care about it, you tell them, listen, you either stop doing that, or you leave. If you care, I wouldn't care.
right. I mean, that's what I say. It's battle frenzy.
Yeah, it's just Battle Frenzy. Like, let's say he's doing that in Void. It's a whole different, different issue. Because obviously, that's him bleeding points. Even if he wins. But like, if your alliance, let's say your alliance has been battling all day and they've been working hard on their individual ranking, for him to just drop bubble, get hit, bumps him up in the individual ranking, wouldn't that be annoying to the rest of the alliance members?
Well, that's kind of what's happening. Our alliance spends a lot. We have a alliance that spends a lot of money, and we rank really high in a lot of events. And a lot of times I mean, we've been winning before, and one drop bubble, and you're losing. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it's battle frenzy, but still it gets annoying. You know what I'm saying?
So like I get Polo's point because they don't care about frenzy as much, but Polo, think about it. You've been battling it out. Your people have been ranking up. They're in top 10. You're one guy who's big BP. He drops his shields on purpose, and then now he's bumped up to the rankings. All because he just dropped his
And see,
shield.
especially me, because I spend more than anybody. I'm also me and him are 1 and 2 in the world, and I spend a lot. So me personally, it's like a
So you understand the point, Polo? Or you see, I guess I'm trying to say.
right at the beginning of Frenzy.
Okay, well, Jay, what is your answer to that?
You should know already what my answer.
What is your answer?
First, what is battle power?
What is his BP? How big is he?
His BP I think is like 118, 119.
Okay, how many guys can take him out?
Our line, I am in our alliance and my alliance. We can do 85 people. You know what I mean?
Can you prepare all these players?
Yeah, I mean zeroing him wouldn't be no problem. I just hadn't really thought about zeroing him at the beginning of Frenzy. I mean,
I think
Because
Jay is saying to kill him on a regular day.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
so on my point, he is selfish player who don't care about damage rank. He is solo player, wants his own personal rank. So the easy option for me, prepare your players, kick him out, burn him, and he can't donate anymore.
Yeah, I do like that idea. Yeah.
Now, the reason why we will say that because some people be like, but it's frenzy. You guys keep saying you don't care. Well, here's the thing. If a person you have been talking to this person for many times that hey, please stop
Yeah.
doing that. And they're only doing it for their selfish reason just to boost up in the rankings while everybody else is spending. That is somebody that, you might as well just burn. Just kick and burn them.
So it's not for first time. You said many times.
Many
You
times.
talked to him many times, and he repeating. So he doing
Yeah,
this
this is the
on
fourth time.
purpose. Yes, he doing this on purpose because he know there is no losses. He don't care if he got hit because next day all his troops will back. So in my
Yeah.
nation, nothing go without punishment, even if it's frenzy. You donate on
Yeah, because I
purpose
get a lot
because
of private messages from other
yes,
players who
this is my point now. What to tell you? He know there is no losses, so he is very confident that next day nothing will happen. All his troop will back. So in my nation, nothing go without punishment, even if it's a frenzy. You know it's will be no losses on a frenzy day, but next day will be. That's our rule in 52.
So to show an example, recently we had a player that Jay confronted and kicked out because we do these messages of, hey, who's gonna participate in Void? We're gonna plan some attacks or something like that. And you just say yes or no if you're gonna participate. The player said he was gonna participate. And he didn't. He was online in Void, did not participate at all. The next day when Void ends, Jay confronts him, be like, hey, what happened? You said you were gonna participate. You didn't. And he's like giving an excuse of, oh, I there was no good signal, and I just want to play it safe and stay bubble. But we saw that he was online. So how can you not have good signal and be online? Or what are you doing? And then he throws another excuse saying, oh, somebody in the family died because of cancer or something like that. And then Jay is like, do you have bubble? Yeah, you have a bubble. And kicks him out. So that's just to show that you gotta have some kind of punishment or consequences to show people that you're being serious. Like, hey, if you're gonna say you're gonna do something for the team, you better do something for the team. Like participate when you're saying you're gonna participate. I know that some things in the family can happen or outside in real life. Talk to your R4. Send a message to an R5. Be like, hey, I know I said I was gonna go join in, but something came up. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna come in. The player did not do that. Right, Jay?
Yeah, because like that one guy texted said. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like he said he had already messaged him 4 or 5 times previously, and if they're doing that consistently, they're doing that. Like you said too, Nikki. Like he's doing that because it's convenient to him. Like he doesn't have to do that whole much. He's got high BP, this, that, and the other. Like he's not gonna like actually lose anything unless he like wants to continuously play Frenzy during that event window, and he's basically just kind of like discounting his teammates' efforts, whether they're spending or not. Like they're going out finding targets, attacking stuff, doing this, that, and the other, and this guy's like, oh, I'm X amount BP, I'll take one defense point and or attack or whatever, and I'll get top 50, top 20, top 10, whatever it may be. It's just you're sitting on your whole teammate's effort, and it seems like you know everyone in their nation, if not their alliance, has already given them, hey, dude, what's going on? Because like I said earlier, there's been those times where we've got people that are consistently good players, and we can't get a hold of them during like say a frenzy, which we've done it in Void too. But like say if it is a frenzy, we'll just boot them a few minutes before frenzy begins at reset. And as frenzy begins, we'll just zero their troops, and we'll just leave that city alone for X amount of time before void. If they come back, if they don't, they don't. But yeah, there's a way you can give people some breathing room for real life problems, and then there's another way that people are going to take advantage of you just because they can. And spending or not, BP or not, like that's not an excuse in my opinion. And it seems like several others agree. Like like don't let other people ride over on you. There's no reason for it. Like whether you have a very low BP non-spender or a very high BP spender, there's no reason why you can't afford a 24-hour bubble on Frenzy, even if you don't play.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody's feedback, and it is nice to be able to hear the opinions of others. It's a job, trying to be in charge of a big alliance, a powerful alliance. For like I said, for the last 3 years. So just hearing other people's opinions and stuff on it, I appreciate you guys' feedback.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, being an R5, it is a job. It's a hard job to do. So that's why you need some R4s behind your back, always there for you to help you. Like I am always there to help Jay, right, Jay? You're not gonna burn me tonight? Yeah, okay.
You already shared your report, so you are.
So mean. But yeah, so I hope that helps you out. Maybe I'm gonna say the only bad thing when once you kick him out and burn him, you will either experience the angry player who becomes active out of nowhere. Like I don't know where he's gonna become active. He's gonna be bombing your world chat, cussing everybody out, and gonna start zeroing people SOS style. Or two, he's gonna start selling. What is there a third option to that?
Yeah, and I am kind of afraid of him selling. I mean, he's got a nice city, and
I
like I said, when
mean,
he is there and he is active, he's a big help. You know what I'm saying? He's right below me actually in office in pretty much city strength. So for me personally, I enjoy having him there, and that's been kind of making it hard for me to kick him. But at the
mm,
same time, I got 20 people in my inbox, complaining about, hey, we've done this, we've done that, and we've spent money, and then all of it, we're winning, and then boom, one bubble drops, and now all of a sudden we're losing, and like I said, it's not the first time.
yeah. So
I feel
hmm. Oh, sorry. You can
sorry.
comment.
I'm just saying I feel your pain. I mean, I have a whale city like that as well, who honestly doesn't do a whole lot. And it's like when he's there, yeah, it's great. He's there, but he's not there 100% when you need him. And you just have to weigh, is it beneficial or is it not? And if it's not beneficial, you have to cut him.
Bro, it's Chevy thing. Just burn him. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew who you were talking about. It was Chevy. It doesn't do
And
anything.
and that's the thing, man. I really like Chevy, man, and he's a great guy, and I enjoy
Hey,
having him in the
Chevy, if you're
alliance
in
and
the
everything.
live stream, we're not talking about you. We're talking about a different Chevy.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're talking about Chevy 343, but
Yeah, a car.
he's a great guy and everything, and he yeah, and I I I know he spends a lot in his city, and he's got a great city and everything. It's just he doesn't use it like I need him to use it.
Sounds like Baba when he was there and dropped the shield just to get uh top 10 and get the all the rewards from it. Same concept. Literally the same concept.
Is this
Until
the
you
same
guys
Yeah, and I
guy?
burned
mean
him.
I don't.
Why'd you guys burn him, not Chevy? It's the same dang thing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We did burn Baba, and I mean he was over 200 million. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't really my decision at the time. Um, yeah, you're right though. It's exactly the same thing.
So, if you go into the voice chat, there's a picture, Mr. Don Knuckles. If you go into the voice chat, is that the guy you're talking about? Is that him with 97 million kills only in the high BP? Is that him? Is that your guy?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, yeah, that's him.
So, so again, what in what part does he
So you
participate in Void, or where is he
well,
participating in?
and that's the thing. In Void, he hasn't been showing up in Void. I mean, the best thing I've seen him do here lately was global. I think he finished like top 10 in global.
Well, of course, because it's
But
not lost. He can just drop shield and get hit. Boom, top 10 in global. Okay, so yeah, that makes it easier. Then yeah, just do what Jay said. Click
Send
confirm,
him to
man.
52 and we will deal with him.
Send in call 1-800 ED1 everybody dies, or how was our jingle? 1-800 everybody dies. Yeah, call us. We're clean your farmers. But yeah,
yeah,
just
I
do
think
that.
I'll definitely. Yeah, I
Get
think I'll
a
definitely
get a,
start a
so so
chat
here
with him.
here what I will suggest though. Get a group of people you trust because he's a guy who's been in your alliance, and most likely you have
Yeah,
alliance members that are good friends with him. And the
yeah,
moment you decide to send a message to everybody, be like, except him, that you're gonna do something, you may get snitches. So get a
yeah,
good group that you know, okay, I will need this many to wipe him out, that you know for sure that you can trust for them not to tell him, hey, they're gonna do this to you, run away, you know? So do that.
yeah, yeah. I'll definitely start a chat with my R4s. I got really good R4s, and we'll start discussing this situation in more depth.
You can record and send me the video. I'm not joking
I'm
though.
I, I'm just gonna throw this out there. A small C-34 with 0 troops who can scout is more beneficial to your group than a C-38 who does nothing.
Yeah, yeah, that I can agree with.
Okay, I'm just checking chat real quick. There's something going on in here. Okay. All right. So does anybody have any questions? Just write them down. I'll try to answer some questions about what makes a strong alliance or anything that we have spoken about. Just to keep in the topic. Next, is it this Sunday? I think this Sunday I have a stream and the topic will be about the store. So we're gonna do budgeting for people that like, hey, I don't know what I'm buying. Should I buy this? Should I not buy this? Is this worth the buy? So that's gonna be Sunday. So for anybody who wants to join, come on over on Sunday, same time as today. Let me double check if that's the right time. um, yeah, it should be the same time as today. So if there's any question, post them in the YouTube chat, in the Discord. I'll try to answer as best as I can. Does anybody has any questions or comments they want to throw, or a shout out to your alliance if you wanna?
If you want to play in 372, just give me a call.
You're way better than I am. 52.
All I'm saying from 219 is if you don't want to follow the rules, you don't have to, and you can still be successful.
You're a bad influence.
Come on now.
I mean, you don't. I'm just saying. I mean, at
That
least
sounds like
I'm gonna I'm
right
gonna
there.
say I like your your honesty. Honesty is best policy, as you said. I
100%.
I can see how John it's so different for our SS1. Like I can't even compare you guys to SS1 because you're very different. Like even though you hate SYN, you don't purposely try to lose the void for them like our guys do, because our guys, they will plain and simple will bleed as much as they can so we can lose. So
No,
that's good
no,
to know.
we fight for 219. That's our world, and that's what we fight for. Um, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I wish SS1 was like that. But no, we gotta kill them 24/7,
I
right,
I
Jay?
gotta be. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna throw this out there. My alliance has 0 rules, but somehow we still follow similar rules to sin, right? Like it's just the way the world works. If we're not getting hit by the top alliance, we're getting hit by another alliance. It's just the way the world is, and we're not going to lose events. We don't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose. We still fight for the world. It doesn't matter what goes on internally. There's
Mm-hmm.
still events.
Yeah. I
So I got a
believe you.
question. So if an alliance wants to go rogue from the rest of the nation and doesn't want to follow the rules that was initially agreed by, say, the top 5, and says, you know what, that's it, we're gonna have as many farms as we want, we're gonna attack whoever we want, prepare for any consequences, and as long as we maintain, our defenses, we're gonna be willing to suffer that, and you're saying that you've done that and been successful in that growth?
I mean, I can't say I'm successful other than I'm the number 2 alliance in 219, which is
That's huge.
arguably successful.
That's huge.
Um,
Yeah,
I
that's
guarantee you
huge.
that the top alliance in 219 would not call me successful. That's just what they
I
would
know.
say,
Yeah, Sid.
right?
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, I'll be the first to tell you it's not the best way to play. I would listen to Nikki and play how she recommends, because how we play is not recommended. It's expensive. It's counterproductive. It's slow to growth. Sure, all those things. I mean, those are facts, but it goes to I have a group of people who play a certain way, and that's how we've decided to play. Are there better ways to play the game? 100%. I would not recommend this for any alliance to do what my alliance does, but that's how my group has decided to play.
So to Viper, the way Sholo decides to play, that's their way. But if you're for you who are in a newer nation, you may come across an alliance like his. But the best thing for you guys to do is to, again, communicate with your alliance, communicate with your world. If you are a top alliance, obviously you're gonna have the final say, right? And that if you have the whale with you, because from what most of what I've seen in the newer worlds, there's whales that are solo, and most of the time they're the ones who are going to decide what the nation is going to be or what the rules are. Um, so what you will do, or what I suggest, is start putting down your rules and putting down your vision and goal for what you want the nation to be. So that way the other alliances can come in and agree or disagree. They can disagree all they want, but you got to set your foot down and put in, hey, this is the rules, this is what the vision is, follow. If they don't want to follow, okay, fine. Just follow the rules. Shield, don't hit what you cannot hit, like, don't hit the top alliance when you're a weak city, or don't bleed, If that alliance fails to follow those rules and the vision, and now they start purposely, bleeding points or doing whatever it takes to make you lose, or doing things that are making you lose the event, that's when you start purging, or that's when you start burning them. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Don't play like my alliance. That's my best advice.
Um, but yeah, that's why when you have a good leadership in the top alliance, if you have a good leadership in your R5 with somebody everybody looks up to and is respectful person. I mean, it can be respectful person and be a dictator, but um everybody knows Jay, and us as members, we know not to do what we're not supposed to do because we know Jay. Right? We touchy, like we follow what Jay says or what Boogie says, because we know there's consequences. And yeah, that sounds kind of ridiculous. Like, oh my God, it's a game. Why is there consequences? I mean, hello, it's a team's game. We're in the team, and this is the rules of the team. So you, as a team player, have to follow what your team, you know, what your leader in your team, in your pack, your captain, whatever, is telling you to do. So yeah, some people see it like, oh my God, you can't tell me what to do, or it's just a game. I'm not here to blah blah blah. Then go to a different team, move to a different alliance, because this alliance is not for you, and that's okay. You can just do that. But you have to like kind of set your foot down and be like, this is what we believe in. This is what we're gonna do. Even if
Yeah, I
even
definitely
if a
think
lot of
I'm.
oh sorry yes continue.
I definitely think I'm too nice sometimes.
Well, my bear friend over here, he's the meanest bear out there, right, Polo? You're so mean. You're like the meanest R5 out there.
Always.
Always. But nah, Polo.
Yeah, and I think I try to appease a lot of people, try to make a lot of people happy, and I try to answer a lot of emails and keep a lot
And
of
that's gonna
arguments
burn
and
you
fights.
out.
And
You're gonna burn out.
yeah, and that's kind of what's that? Yeah,
So, you know the saying that you can never please everybody?
yeah,
For you two who are R5, you can never please everybody. So at that point, you need to set your foot down and be like, hey, this is what it is, and that's how it's gonna be. And if they keep bitching and complaining, be like, oh well, move on. Wear a helmet and move on. Like, come on. Because you, at the R5, you're setting the rules and you're setting the example for what the team is gonna, prioritize and what the team is gonna do?
yeah, yeah,
Because if you're too soft and you're being too nice, they're just gonna walk all over you.
yeah. Well, I have a R4 Thor. He is super tough, so it's kind of like a good cop, bad cop thing. But at the same time, being the R5 of the number one alliance, I think some of that I should be saying.
Mm-hmm. So that's why when Jay say there's consequences, that he does consequences, you should like kind of implement some consequences to just like, because if your if your team if your members are like, okay, I can do whatever I want and there's no consequences, then at that point you really should start be like, hey, if you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing, like, oh, we told people not to SOS, and you go ahead and went and did an SOS. Cause okay, so because
Hmm.
before people be saying, well, why SOS is people can do SOS, why not? Well, we do recommend people to use their SOS as like a if you came in late for the speed attack, you at least you have your SOS to save you.
Hmm.
That's what we use it for. But sometimes some SOSs can be bad SOS, meaning they went in and then got hit with a bunch of reinforcements, and now he just bled all those points to that team because he wanted to go solo and SOS. So
Yeah,
this is
and
when you're
20 days
like,
in the hospital.
yeah. So this is when you're like, this is a team. We are a team. We attack together. So do not SOS. I'm just throwing out this like a small scenario. It's not even that big of a deal of a punishment, but just throwing a point. So let's say they went out and did an SOS, and it was a really bad SOS, like so bad. Now your players could be like, "Oh, it was. I mean, yeah, I did it. Oh well." The next day, nothing happened. I'm gonna do it again the next void. So you're gonna kind of throw some warnings, like warning 1 and 2, or maybe warning 1, and then the second warning is like you're out of the alliance. You kick and burn them. But like
Hmm.
people who are repeated offenders of breaking the rules or doing something the team does not like are people that you need to kick and burn. Like you gotta, as much as you talk to them, it's not, they're not, it's like coming to one ear and getting out the other. They're just gonna keep doing it. So just maybe start
But
setting rules and setting consequences just to make people be like, okay, I should not do that, and just just be a team player. You know,
yeah, definitely. And Frenzy's
definitely.
coming up, and I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen.
Well, like I said, make a group message with the people that you trust, and do what you gotta do. Like you said, it's a repeated offense. He's gonna do it again if you don't do it to if you don't do what we told you to do, which is a suggestion. You can do whatever you want to do. Um, he's gonna do it again in frenzy. What he usually be doing. And again, your people are gonna complain. And at some point, those same people that keep complaining, they're gonna leave the alliance. So at some point, they get tired of the one player, and if you don't do nothing about it, they start leaving, and then you start losing the good players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So, any questions?
I just started implementing some rules because there was none. Actually, I just posted it in the chat if you want to see. It's just like 8 rules, and there are consequences. So we left it very clear. So every member that joins gets a copy of this. So if they get kicked and zeroed, they know why. I was too nice in the beginning as well, like trying to cater to everyone, but it gets to a point where it's basically impossible. It becomes a full-time job.
Yeah. And once time passes, those rules change to much smaller, like 3 rules basics. Um,
Yeah.
so since you're a newer world, you gotta put more rules into that. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's looking
Yeah,
good.
because we still have very we still have very, very inexperienced players.
Mm. Well, So another, yeah, because like if you can't be too rough with them because they're inexperienced, you gotta let them enjoy, learn the game and enjoy. So right now you're basically need to teach your players or your members and how the game works. Or if you're somebody who is new yourself, then that's when you YouTube the bets and you look at everybody else and how it works, and yeah, or you join the podcast and then we can help you out, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've done, and I have Angela from 736 helping me as well.
Don't you,
So
is that the same Angela you were talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Um,
she was in the same alliance as Woody, BIA.
okay, okay.
I want to make a
So
comment
she's
about
also
the
playing.
rules.
Wait, sorry, one at a time. What do you say, Doju?
I want to make a comment about the rules of, both the Alliance and the Nation.
Mm.
We mentioned that immediately you start getting people lashing out at you, this is too strict, you're a tyrant, blah, 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 blah. But it's also another side of it that people don't really talk about as often as they should. When you see these rules being implemented and then the Alliance who is pushing them starts doing really, really well in events, the results speak for themselves. And yeah, you will lose a bunch of uninterested farmers or just vegetable people. But then all of the other people that are very competitive and they do strive to prove themselves and they want to score high and be in the leaderboards and take pride in what they do, they will just automatically gravitate towards you. So losing 10 farmers and getting 3 really good players in the process, it's a trade worth having.
Mm-hmm. For sure. It's like
Can I
if
can I can I comment on this just because I'm in alliance with this knowledge, I guess, is I violate every one of my nation's rules, but yet I punish alliances for violating my nation's rules. So my alliance's whole draw is I don't follow my nation's rule. I don't make my farms have T4. I don't make my cities have a certain BP, whatever it may be. Um, I I just don't do that. But at the same time, when it comes to events, if cities drop shields, if they're exposing troops, those cities get zeroed by my alliance. So um, it's a fine line. Like you don't have to follow rules just because your nation sets rules. That's one thing. It's all about your nation's and your alliance's identity. Um, and just because the nation sets rules doesn't mean you have to follow them. I know that's
well,
not what
Cholo,
some can still participate in the nation and not follow nation rules. You get what I'm saying? Is just because a nation says you have to have T4 in a certain city doesn't mean you have to have T4. Now, if they say they're gonna zero your city, that's fine. Hide your troops that aren't T4. The game offers you the ability to do that, right? Now, it's not beneficial to the nation, but if it's something you want to do, there's nobody that's stopping you from doing it. You get my point? I'm not
I mean,
condoning giving points to the nation. I'm not condoning any of that. I'm just saying if you don't want your farm to expose your higher troops, then hide them.
like I get what you're saying, but it's how do I say it? Like it's beneficial to be more of a team player and follow what the
Oh,
top ones is saying. Like I know you agree 100% and your team does that too. Your point is just for that player that doesn't wanna and he just wants to be casual and do what he wants to do, which is fine. Everybody's welcome to do that. The game allows you to do that. But
you
there's
have to cut that player though from your team. I mean,
well
if you
yeah.
have if you have a specific player who just won't play by any rules, they have to go.
Team player when the whole world's trying to kill you. I mean, they're not gonna be a team player if that's the case. It goes how do I say it? Depends on the person's situation, and it depends the past, I guess, because if your world has place rules, and then you have the one person that Sholo is describing, and you're just trying to be like, okay, fine, we're gonna burn you. Obviously, this person is not gonna be a team player. Yeah, they're not because you're trying to burn him, so he's gonna take that the wrong way. But like again, we go back to the beginning. Maybe you have to look deep into this player. Are they a good player? Do they know what they're doing? Do they try their best to score for the nation? You know? Like, hey, he doesn't want to follow the rules, but hey, he hides his troops. He keeps his bubble. He does not defend when he shouldn't be defending, and he knows to attack, to attack cities that are not as strong as him, and at least is giving points to the nation. Does that make sense? So yes, there's those type of players, and that's fine, okay. But it gets to the point when they do the opposite. They drop their shield, they defend when they're not supposed to be defending, they're attacking the top one alliance and they're just giving up their points to them, or they just purposely are bleeding and just doing the opposite of everything. And there's a lot of those types of players. So
Agreed.
that's
Agreed.
the
And
point when, yeah, we're gonna kill you.
Nick,
We're you know?
Nikki is correct. Those players have to go, and it doesn't matter how much they spend. If you keep hitting them, they will go away.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, no, they don't go away. They become flag attackers. They're gonna attack your flag for the next 5 weeks, and then once they get bored of it, then they will progress to the nation chat, and they're gonna post so much about the nation. So yeah, there's like a progression to these players.
They go
You can
away.
get all 7
They go
They
away
never go
eventually.
away. They never quit. Oh man.
6 months.
What do you say, Viper?
It's like 6 months nonstop annoyance.
Yeah, 6 months non-stop annoyance. You have anything, Hokage?
Going red light,
Yeah,
green light.
in 934 we had exactly the same. Like a guy got upset, so he got kicked off most alliances, so he just started burning flags every single day. Like a
Mm-hmm.
C-15 with like 120k troops, he would burn flags all day, every single day for like 2 months straight, like non-stop.
Yep, that's how they are. Ritashi has posted a really
Annoying.
good point. Yeah, they're very annoying. Ritashi posted a good point, and I completely forgot about it to add it. But another thing that makes a strong alliance is competition. You gotta have that competition. Because, like he says, whether in the alliance or against other nations, nothing breaks out my credit card faster than feeling weaker than others or getting my teeth kicked in the uranium mine. But but yeah, like if you have if you're going to go against somebody in elite world, and this team is super strong, and you guys are very competitive and you want to win against them, you got to pull out that CC card and spend those speeds to win that elite world, you know what I mean? But yeah, Mitashi, you're right. Competition is a very important thing to have in a top alliance. Top strong alliance. Yes. But okay. So I think I have covered everything that makes a top alliance strong. For in short, the first one was having a good leadership. Second one, high activity, massive activity, participation, having spenders, But don't forget about the little guys, which are the smaller spenders or medium spenders. So between those two things, look into your member and see if they help the team or they put their efforts into the team. And you'll see, I guess it's to say, look at the player's worth. Again, if you see that they're a spender, but they don't do nothing for the team, and you're a little spender or non-spender, low spender, whatever, they do everything for the team. Rather have that player stay and let the spender go. And the other point, what was the other point? Ah, jeez, I forgot already.
Accountability.
Accountability and punishments. um, having a common goal. To have a strong alliance, you need to have a common goal and a common vision. Because if an alliance has no goals, no vision, then you're just there, you know? You're not. How can you consider yourself a strong alliance if you don't have a goal in mind, you know? Like if you want your team to be like the best team to have the most kills, then that's a goal. Then you're gonna work hard in Void and kill everything you can in Void, and then your team progressively gets the most kills. So to have a goal is very important. It gives your members purpose, and it gives your members like, hey, I'm in this alliance and we believe in this. You know what I mean? So yeah, so shout outs to all R4s and R5s. Because yeah, we do it a lot for you guys. We do.
God help you all.
God help us all. But yeah, so that's what the stream has been about. I want to thank everybody who has joined in. I'm gonna end the stream. I think we're already 2 hours in. But thank you all for joining. I hope the stream was helpful for everybody. And I hope everybody had a good time. But yeah, I'm gonna stay around here because there's some topics that we couldn't touch earlier on if you guys want to hit on that. But I'll see you guys on the next stream, which is on Sunday. We're gonna talk about the store and what we should buy and not buy from the store. Especially never buy resources. Because why buy a resources pack when you can steal it from your neighbor? Everybody have a good
Just want
night. Oh, you want to
to
say
say
one
thanks,
last thing?
everybody. Just want to say thanks to everybody. That's all.
Alrighty then. Okay. Well then, who had the question about selling cities?